search for directions, my thoughts reflecting.
What's up, dreamers? Oliver Nye here, Big Bass Dreams. Another edition of Mail Call. Another box from our man Ben Collar at the Hookup. He is our #1 source for all dope things. JDM tackle, hard to find Megabass stuff, Defiant swim baits, Big Bass Dreams gear. If you guys want some of that, find the links in the description below. We appreciate your support. Got another box of goodies here to share with you guys. Kind of like the last time, there's some items in here I ordered, a couple other goodies that I didn't. So Ben's really good at sending me some baits and other items to get me fired up for the upcoming fishing adventures that will be going on. All right, and we're gonna start it off here with this little Vibration X Vatalion. So as you guys have been watching on the channel, between the Big M stuff, the Vatalion stuff, I have a soft spot for anything panfish related. We are on a big Deep M 7.5 bite up at Clear Lake, matching the hatch on color scheme and depth of that, and diving depth of that big crankbait. But there's gonna be times when those fish are up shallow, flooded brush, in and around docks, feeding on young of the year sunfish. And that's where this little Vibration X Vatalion can come into play. As you notice here, it's got a short bill. It's really the same retrieve that we discussed prior with all the Vatalion series baits. It's really simple. Stop and go, lots of pauses, lots of twitches. Really try to emulate and mimic a small sunfish in distress. They do those little darty motions. They pause a lot, they suspend a lot, they'll hover next to cover. That's what you want to be doing with this bait here. So really cool color. This is the AL Evening Gill. Pretty sick pattern. Looks just like a little fired up male bluegill if you ask me. Okay, and sticking with that sunfish scheme, we've actually got one of the Respect colors, and the Respect colors are limited edition color runs straight out of Japan to celebrate their 30th anniversary. So they come out with an entire set of baits from Pop X, Pop Max to Kanata to the Deep X 200 LBO here, and this is the GG Sunfish pattern. This is a sick color. It's kind of got like that silver metallic base on this one. So one of my favorite colors is Ozark Shad, and that's a really similar side, but the top of the Ozark Shad is just a black back. So I can see this thing working in a lot of the same scenarios, and that's literally all conditions. Clear water, dirty water, that chrome side is gonna catch a lot of light, and even in clear water, that kind of subtle, darkish, medium green back with the little sunfish spots, like that just looks cool. That should have no problem getting bites in multiple conditions. Do not sleep on the chrome baits. Nobody fishes chrome anymore. And we've caught fish in all water types for as long as I've been bass fishing on chrome. All right, so don't sleep on chrome. Here's another one of the Respect GG gill baits. I'm gonna take this one out of the package because it's a little bit easier. This is one of my favorite topwater baits ever. This is the Pop Max. You see here that nice little blingy shine. Just a real beautiful bait, inspires a lot of confidence. All right, but keep in mind too, like for the most part, most of those fish are gonna be looking at the belly, and as this bait walks and spits, they will be exposed to those sides. Splash, splash, walk, kaboom. GG Sunfish and the Pop Max, make sure you swoop one of those. GG Sunfish and the 200 LBO. Typically I am ordering my baits in multiples of 3 and not even 4. Because I'll get into positions like when I was on Clear Lake catching those Deep M fish, man, I lost a couple baits cranking that big volcanic rock. It's part of the game. When you get dialed in on a bite and they're only responding to one bait, the last thing I need is to not have the one triggering lure at my disposal. So if you guys can, get a backup for your backup for your backup. Remember, I'm on the road for long stretches of time. I don't have access to a tackle store that carries all of this stuff because Ben is in Arizona, and depending on where I'm at in the country, it's not logistically possible for him to overnight me a package in time to take advantage of these bite windows that we figure out. Okay, here's a cool little bait that I've been fishing a little bit more. We got some nice smallmouth on it this year. This is the Prop Darter 80. And my man Steven Mui, the guy that's always leaving awkward comments on my personal Instagram, he actually opened up my eyes to the actual 110 Prop Darter. So that was actually the 110 body, but in a floater and with 2 propellers on the tail. And that is actually one of my favorite baits now for topwater applications. And this trick darter or Prop Darter 80 fills a similar niche when I need a little bit smaller profile or smallmouth specific. Great bait, fish it like a popper. We'll talk about that on a future tackle breakdown maybe in the future. But that's a beautiful color. They call this red eye hue, but real clear, real transparent, great clear water option. I know top water is probably not the top of everybody's list right now, but it's amazing if those fish are shallow, and if they're active, they will eat a top water. And that brings us to this cool little guy. And this is the first time that I've actually seen a Megabass Swing Shot in person. When I first saw this on Ben's Instagram profile, make sure you're following the Hookup Tackle because he posts things to his Insta story that I don't see anywhere else. And I've talked about it before. That's where I see a lot of this stuff. This is a sick little popping and walking bait in a small profile. It's about the size of a Pop X. So when they're on that small bait, like this thing can be deadly. This is Shirasu Blood. That doesn't say striper all over it for you guys fishing here in SoCal. I don't know what does. It's got upgraded hooks, rotating hook hangers. All hard baits should have rotating hook hangers in my opinion. Pretty stout looking saltwater grade style finesse hooks. Those should hold up to that heavier line that we like to fish pretty well. Super cool bait. Excited to give that a test. Okay, this is another Deep X 100 LBO. A little bit smaller body, a little bit shallower diving depth. This is the good old Hachiro reaction color. Great off color, stained water option, smallmouth in particular and largemouth in the spring. Really respond to that Hachiro reaction color scheme really well. So made sure I got one of those. Oh, another GG Sunfish in the Respect series, and that's good old Kanata. Biggest jerk bait in the Megabass lineup. It's just a fun bait, big floater. Throw it out there. I like throwing it on a flat side special, even a launcher. Sweep retrieves on this, guys. Sweep, pause, sweep, sweep, pause. Instead of more like that traditional harder jerk. Doesn't really do it for me as often as that big sweeping retrieve. That's a retrieve I used to use on like a Bomber Long A back in the day before any of this stuff existed, or a Smithwick Rattling Rogue. So a Kanata is a great way to show them a bigger profile bait when they're on that jerk bait style retrieve, but you start wearing out those fish and you're looking for a bigger bite. Put a Kanata on, throw it out there, try that big sweep. And I'm talking big sweeps, like 4 to 8 foot sweeps. You want to get this thing like rolling. And those calico guys out there, this is one of the best calico hard baits that I've found in the last few years. It's straight stop and go retrieve on this. You don't need to sweep, just stop and go, even burn it. Just that straight retrieve, tight wiggle. You'll catch a lot of little calicos, but the big ones will eat it too. But it's a great numbers game. Like I see my boy Justin Reynolds of Radio Silence Fishing, subscribe to his channel here. He gets on these gnarly hard bait bites, and I need to get out there with them and throw like some of these baits where I know they're gonna chomp. The Kanata is one of those baits where he can get that clicker of his up into the triple digits, 100 fish days, 150 fish days, who knows. But great bait for that. GG Sunfish. Here's another one, and this is the GG Deadly Black Shad. I'm pretty sure this is also one of the Respect colors. So and I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. These Respect colors are kind of like a one and done type of limited edition deal. So if you like any of those patterns, you're gonna wanna jump on them immediately. Okay, here's a saltwater specific Kanata. And the big difference with these, and this is the GG washi color, which is pretty much what they call their sardine colors. I'm pretty sure it means sardine in Japanese, but I'm not Japanese, so I really don't know. But that's no excuse. It's got upgraded saltwater hooks. So that's really nice. Okay, we are fishing that on like light freshwater swim bait gear, at least I am, or a big launcher, something that'll keep those treble hooks pinned in those calico's faces. But those of you guys fishing striper inland on lakes like Castaic and Diamond and Skinner, you're gonna like this bait too. A little bit heavier hardware, a lot of that big flash. Gosh, I mean, pike and musky guys, you guys can find applications for that too. Like, they're gonna eat that really, really good. That's a cool bait. Okay, we got another little Vatalion here. That's a sweet color. GP Kanahira. Not really sure. Talked about that one already. Okay, this one's exciting. We've got lots of videos fishing with my man Casey at Bass Brawl Outdoors. Whacked the big largemouth in Minnesota on Uoze swimmers, and that's how our man Theo from Megabass Canada suggested we pronounce that, just because it sounds cooler than Uzi. I think some of the other guys might have been calling it the Uzi swimmer. But this is the new swim jig from Megabass. Really cool jig. It comes in quarter, 3/8, half, 5/8, and 3/4 ounce sizes, and I want to say like at least 6 colors. So there's a lot of different options there for you guys to match the hatch as far as forage in your trailer, as well as color conditions. We'll go into an Uoze swim jig tackle breakdown specifically for you guys in the future. We'll talk about those color patterns and schemes and get more in depth on the rod, reel, line setups, and retrieve methods. Those of you guys on my Patreon account, I just put up a tips video on fishing the robin blade. Well, you can fish this thing in much of that same manner. So those of you guys that have seen that video, make sure you try it with the Uoze swimmer. And this is the reaction chartreuse color, obviously dirty water, low light conditions. Anywhere you throw a chartreuse white spinnerbait, try that. Got another Deep X 300 here, wild craw. I have always been really partial to craw colored baits and cranks. Really, I don't know if it's more of a feeding response on the crankbait bites, more as much as it is a reaction bite when this thing is deflecting off of cover, whether it's rocks, whether it's wood. But dirty water, low light conditions, or if they're literally feeding heavily on craws, this is a sick crawfish pattern. Wild craw, bright orange belly, transitions to that red shoulder. Just a cool looking craw bait in color. This is relatively new to the Megabass lineup, so make sure you guys swoop one of those if you haven't already. Back to our swing shot, homie. This is a clear pattern, and it looks like this must have been designed for some of the saltwater species in Japan. It's got those upgraded saltwater style hooks that they use on all of their saltwater 110s and other hard baits. Sick video. I mean, this thing cuts hard from the swim videos that Ben was showing on the Hookup Tackle story. Once again, go subscribe, or actually go follow the Hookup Tackle on Instagram and stay tuned to his stories and his posts, because he's really good about posting videos, swim videos, engaging with his customers. He really goes the extra mile to help you guys out, because the same way that we find value in helping you guys catch more fish, the more you guys are likely to support us, and he gets that too. He's a smart dude. This one's cool. I haven't seen this one. So this is a Vatalion X, but this is actually a saltwater version. So you see here the packaging is different, but once again, the main difference that I can see right off the bat is the difference in hardware. You've got those saltwater style hooks, and then they've got a bunch of different color schemes that they only offer in the saltwater baits, which I think are really fishy. I mean, they call this one Shell Skin Lemon. So think about low light conditions, dirty water, chartreuse and white, that same kind of like color scheme that you'd fish that Uoze swim jig in. Like that thing could catch him in that too. Like that thing looks sick. Like I want to go throw that in the bay for spotted bay bass for some reason. Like that just comes into mind. So that's cool. I haven't seen one of those in person yet. Good job, Ben. That was a good choice, man. That one's sick. Okay, we got a couple more of those metal edge baits that we talked about from the last mail call. Salmon killers. They bite them. You don't need to snag them. Freaking haters. All right, back to the GG Sunfish Respect Color Pop X. I'm pretty sure I told Ben I wanted that entire series. Dog X. Two of the classics, two of the very first hard baits I remember being made public knowledge here in Southern California back in the day when Aaron Martins was rocking like a purple Crown Royal boat, and those early murmurs of the Megabass brand. The giant Dog X and the Pop X really put this brand on the map here locally, at least to this young kid. And the artistry and the detail in these two baits in particular really elevated this brand, not to mention the price point, above all the competition. That was smooth. Such iconic baits. It's cool to have them in these select colors. So that'll be fun next summer. Ooh, this one's new. So I saw a prototype version of this fishing with the man Kenichi Ida out last summer when I was home, but I'm kind of curious to see what it does in the water because I don't remember actually picking it up and shooting off any casts. But it's a jerkbait style body with that lip, but it's definitely a floater. It's got heavier gauge hooks and that prop, kind of similar to the what is it, the prop darter. And that looks like that same offset Megabass prop that's used on the Okashira screwheads, which I'm a big fan of. It might be the same size. I can't confirm because I don't have a screwhead near me right now. But that's a cool bait. We'll see what that does. Dressed feather. That's different. Different is good, especially for you guys fishing pressured fisheries. Showing those fish something they haven't been conditioned to goes a long, long way. All right, yeah, my man. So what I told Ben, he needed to order these things like a summer ago. He looked at me like, and was like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's a freaking gorilla in a cage. Like, how can you not just have one of these?" But the wild thing is, I got on some good like hard bait bites on places like Clear Lake or in Michigan. And I'm like, you know what? Let's see if they'll eat the gong. And what I discovered with this crazy looking crankbait, wake bait, shaped exactly like our homie Harambe, rest in peace, is that it's actually a really cool bait. And it makes like the most unique sound. Let's see if I can get it kind of close. But like that blade slapping that butt really comes through that water really well. And I've caught largemouth and smallmouth on this thing, waking it and cranking it. So if you're feeling adventurous, you need a bait that displaces a lot of water with that big bill. Makes a ton of noise, night fishing. Give the gong a try. That's an interesting color. This one's called Invisible. But there's plenty of natural style colors like black and grays. There's even like that Megabass coated fur-like finish. That's just a fun bait, especially for the collectors out there. I'm glad Ben finally brought some gongs in. That one's cool. Now we need one with like a Kawhi Leonard jersey or an AD jersey for the Laker fans out there. And yes, I am a fan of both teams. Don't get it twisted. I started watching NBA basketball when both teams sucked. All right, and we didn't have cable, and both of them were on local TV, so I watched both teams. I doubt many people can name more players from the mid-90s era from either team as I can. So don't come at me with that. All right. Saltwater 185. That is a faster sinking, heavier hook, non-magnetic hook holder version of the 185 that we like fishing throughout the country. So when you need to get a bait down and keep it down in deep water, or you want to fish it faster over shallower water, the saltwater has been the deal. Stay tuned for a more thorough breakdown on this bait coming in the future. Okay, and then you got the opposite. You have here, oh, that's new and different. Now they have floating saltwater 185s. So I thought this is one of the standard 185s from Japan that have the dressed feathers. Those are also floaters. And I like this bait in and around shallow cover especially. And my man Theo from Megabass Canada saw that firsthand, how I can throw this bait at shallow cover like a big laydown and finesse it and glide it and pause it in and around or in and over really shallow cover. Really lets you be versatile in your application of an iSlide 185 from real shallow cover all the way down to like 30-40 feet if they're down there. So it's nice to have options to be able to probe different depths in the water column. That color is sick. We're gonna take this one out. This color is clear Konishiro, and I think that's a Japanese saltwater bait fish that they got. Oh, dude. So clear water applications, highly pressured fish. I mean, you got to think about what these fish are looking at. They're having a hard time making it out. They can kind of make out the profile. The translucency kind of has that camouflage effect, in my opinion. Right? It's like that terrible CGI from the early Predator movies. Or like you can kind of see like that ripple, invisible finish. You can call that Predator camo. Yeah. Check that out. That's a cool bait. This thing is cool. This is the bottom/plus head. And I found this in the archives of the Megabass world. They actually built this for, it looked like Japanese halibut fishing. So we've got a couple videos fishing out of the 1.0. My boy Matty Wong whacked some really good fish early this spring on this thing. Put a Spark Shad trailer on this thing. It's unique that it's got a treble hook system that you can leave the front free swinging, pin the back hook into the soft body trailer, corkscrew the body of your soft plastic on here. It's heavier. This is 20 grams. So it lifts and drops a lot faster than any other bladed swim jig. And if you notice the shape of the blade, it's thinner. It's got a super tight aggro wobble. So it's a different feel and vibration and water displacement than fish are accustomed to feeling. We had a hard time finding these. So now that Ben's got them, you're going to want to pick that up. Perfect example of thinking outside the box and finding a crossover bait that is applicable in freshwater. If you want to watch the video of us catching them on it, it's right here. All right. And I hope you guys find value in that, and in us opening up and going through the thought processes of how we're making our orders, how we plan on applying them. But at the end of the day, like, we are catching good fish. So you guys should be paying attention to other creators on whatever platform that have a solid body of work to back up the crap that comes out of their mouth. You feel me? Because anybody can come up here and be like, oh, I think this crankbait would be amazing for swordfish. Well, if the dude's got a swordfish caught on this thing in his pictures or his video, I'm gonna be like, man, maybe I was wrong. But dude, some of these dudes in this fishing game, and especially the bass fishing game, trip me out. And the audiences trip me out because you guys don't really hold them accountable. You guys just listen to all this theory and conjecture and these wild ideas, and they're never supported by actual fish catches, which is strange to me. That's like me going on YouTube, looking up jump shot tutorials from somebody that is struggling to shoot a free throw. Like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep watching this. But anyways, rant over, I'm sorry. I just hope you guys find value in what we're doing, because we do want to see you guys succeed and win for supporting the Big Bass Dreams movement and everybody that's involved with supporting us. All right, so these are dope. These are brand new, and this is the Over-Rev Crank, and I have not seen one of these in person yet. I'm excited about this bait. It looks like a shallow wake bait style zero diver, maybe. Yep, it's rated for 0 to 0.1 meters. So this thing is gonna push a big wake, I'm assuming, draw up a lot of attention towards the service. My man John Curry sent me a DM, was like, bro, you need to get you a couple of these. Do not sleep on this. Sorry for blowing out your bite, John. But you're a good fisherman. You're gonna adapt and keep catching them like you always have. So this is the rain burst color. This looks like our old friend, the BBD Matt Carp, but they're calling it the Gengoro Buna. That's probably some kind of carpy bait fish or something back in Japan. And yeah, man. And those of you guys that have seen some of the calico stuff that we've done, and maybe some of the musky stuff, hit up Ben ASAP. Oh, and the bluefin too. He's got a handful of these flappers. That's all I'm going to tell you. And also for you bluefin guys, that bite's extended way deeper into the season than most of us anticipated. So if you're catching them on that vertical application, deep dropping jigs, check out these two options. This is the Slash Beat and 120 gram silver color, and that's a Slash Beat back slider in the silver zebra color. That's a glow in the dark stripe. We did really well on this fishing it over rock reefs in Costa Rica. When I get back from Australia, I want to do some local inshore saltwater fishing here at home. These are definitely going to catch rockfish, bass, hopefully a lingcod or something, maybe even a sheephead. I got my PB sheephead on a big vertical jig like this once, actually. Like, I think it was 22 pounds. So that wraps up this latest edition of Mail Call. Ben has also always got an influx of these Megabass hybrid hoodies in a couple different color schemes. The original was the black with the white or silver embroidery. This one's got the red embroidery, and he's also got that super dope red one with the black embroidery that I've been rocking. They come and go quickly, hard to get. He gets all the hard stuff from Japan over direct to be the most comprehensive Megabass dealer that I know of. So please support him. If you guys need some Big Bass Dreams merch, you can hit up Ben and our other retailers, as well as order directly from the Big Bass Dreams website. Everything you guys do helps support this channel. It's going to help our creators grow, and it's going to help the level of our content grow. So thank you guys. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button, leave a comment. All those little things matter. If you guys really do like watching this stuff, and I know enough of you guys do because you tell me in person or on the phone or in a message, but I don't see it on the page. Put it on the page, guys. If there's something you like in the video, you thought it was funny, you thought it was terrible, you thought something I did was cringy, you thought one of the camera kids was being silly, you should get out of the camera, just engage with us on the platform. We appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for more to come. We're out.
In search for directions, my thoughts reflecting.